do now is I'm going to commit to the placement of the eye, and I'm going to actually put in the features of the eye. So I follow a pretty consistent series of steps that I do for the eye, so I want you guys to kind of follow along, see if it works for you. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here, and we are going to work on the right eye right now. Okay, so I'm going to put her drawing like this so we can all see it, and I'm going to show you how I do the eye. Okay, so first of all, let's clean up all these lines that we have, keeping my shape. So I'm still going to use the B for now, but you guys again might want to be using the HB, the HB. But even a B, as long as you're light-handed, should be fine. So this is what I do. I always start with the shape of the top lid. Okay, now you need to stop and really look at the shape of the top lid because it isn't a perfect semicircle. Okay, it comes from the corner, it changes angle a few times. It's actually kind of straight across the iris here and then comes down. So starting in this corner, I'm going to do the best I can to make this look right. Turning it, making it straight, and then coming down again in the right corner. Okay, so this is kind of what it looks like. All right. After that, I'll do the bottom lid. Now the bottom lid is kind of interesting because it's actually two-part. Let me explain. So I'm going to come in. Again, this is not a perfect, semicircle. It comes up from the corner, then goes straight, but it dips a little bit downwards, and then it comes up. Okay, so we have a shape more like this than you would think perfect circle or almond shape. Okay, there's a lot of variation in the angles. Now the lower lid, because it's lower and it's usually angled downwards, we can actually see usually the inside part of it, the little pink skin that actually connects to the eyeball. So what I'm going to do is I usually just double up that bottom line. You can't really see it very well in the picture of Rihanna because it's, tiny picture and stuff. But if you look at your eyes in a mirror or, in a photograph where you can zoom in, you'll see that double inside part, okay? Now, from here, I'm going to start to sketch in the iris. Now, this is important. The iris, which is the colored part of the eye, is a perfect circle. Okay, so is the little black pupil inside it. A lot of the time students will draw something like this. Okay, that is not a perfect circle. So what I want you to do is really look at the picture that we're drawing from. Now, do we see all of the iris? No, it's cut off, right? It's cut off at about 3/4 by the top of the iris. By the top lid. But what I want you to do when you're drawing it is try to imagine a perfect circle. And when I draw circles, it's never just one line. It's always sketch, 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 sketch until you get that just right shape. Okay? And then you can come in and fix it with your eraser until you get just that right shape. Now it looks like it gets cut off by the top lid, but it looks like you can see most of it on the bottom. Maybe it touches that little inside lid. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to put the pupil, and the pupil is the dark part again. And it looks like the pupil touches the top eyelid. It's also going to be directly in the middle of this circle, so try to have it be at an equal distance all the way around. Okay, I did kind of missed a little bit, but that's what we want to see. Okay, so a nice circle inside another circle. No ovals or squares. Okay, now here's something that's really important about the eye, and it's that little highlight. We always want to mark out that highlight before you fill in any color. Okay, the reason I do that is because that little highlight is so important to the overall look of the eye. It's what makes the eye look alive, so we don't want to miss out on that. We could fill it all in and then try to erase it out, but it would never be as bright. So I'm marking it out just like that. And then what I'm going to do is work kind of from the inside out. Okay. So I'm going to put in the color, or the value inside the pupil, and the pupil is going to be the darkest part of the eye. So I'm switching to a 2B pencil and filling all of that in, leaving out our little highlight. Okay. Then you'll see the rim around the iris is going to be pretty dark. Not as dark as the pupil, but pretty dark. Something like that. Now I'm going to teach you my little trick for doing the eye, the inside part of the iris. Now you guys might have noticed that if you've ever really looked at your eye, it's not just one solid color, right? There's a lot going on, a lot of weird, different variations in color and line. So what I do is I just pop in some little squiggles right in the middle. They don't really touch either side. Well, maybe they do somewhere here and there. Just for a little bit of variation in what's going on there. And then I might take a blending stick and fill in the value. Now, I don't know what Rihanna's eye color is, but it looks pretty light. So I'm going to keep that lighter than the outside rim for sure. In fact, I might come in and darken the outside rim a little tiny bit and darken the pupil so there's contrast. And maybe come back in with a little detail. You just don't want to lose the detail. So if you do, put it back in. Okay. All right. Now, it's all about the value. So I'm going to switch to my 2B pencil, and I'm going to start to darken up that upper lid because she's wearing a bunch of makeup, so I might thicken up this line a little bit. I'm going to follow along with what it looks like. And we would normally have something here just because of the lash line, even if you're drawing a man's eye. It's always a little bit darker, just like that. Don't worry about eyelashes yet. Okay, then I'm going to take my blending stick and I'm going to come in and bring some of this graphite down into the white part of the eye. Now you'll notice that the white part of the eye isn't ever totally white. There's a lot of shadow that happens in here, especially right underneath the top lid. And because the eyeball is round, it disappears into your head, so it gets a little bit darker in the corners. Can't see it as well in the picture, but it does, trust me. Okay, so there we go. Now getting my pencil, and again working from the inside out, we've got to do this little corner here. So here's the little corner where that inside corner skin meets the eyeball. Keep that rounded. Okay. And I might touch this a little bit with the blending stick for that inside pink corner, but that place can have some highlights too, so watch out for that. Okay. Then, just working on the upper lid here, I'm going to go ahead and put in the fold above the eye. This tends to have the same shape sort of as the upper lid, but again, it can be different too, so pay attention to where it's closer, where it's a little bit further away. It looks like here it's closer about here, and then comes across to about here. Now this is just a fold, so I'm not going to make a harsh line. I'm kind of using the side of my pencil to put in some graphite, and then I'm going to blend it out. Blend it out all the way out, and then blend it out on the corners. Try to picture that round eyeball, and that will help you kind of figure out where things should lay. I'm going to come back and darken that up a little bit, because when we blend, sometimes we lose the detail. Okay, now bottom lash line. I'm going to darken that up a little because she's wearing her makeup, so that needs to pop a little bit more. And also you'll see that there's some shadow going on underneath her eye. So I think my blending stick is dirty enough, and I have some graphite down here from when I was first sketching, that I'm going to blend into the shadow under the eye. So it gives us a more 3D look, just like that. Okay, now eyelashes. So a common mistake is for students to draw eyelashes like this. Rihanna is not SpongeBob, so we're not going to do that. I want you to think about how lashes actually look, and they don't stick straight up, and they're not individual. There are lots of little hairs. So what I'm going to do is just sideways do some nice little curves that hint at the lashes. Remember, it's like a fan, okay? So, and it gets, they get longer as they come out to the outside part of the eye. So the ones on the inside, I'm almost not even really gonna draw in, maybe barely. But these ones will kind of come upwards very lightly. And then as they come around, it's gonna get rounder and more facing the side. You don't ever want them to look like individual hairs. You want them to look like a grouping, like that, okay? It looks softer that way. Okay, and then I'm gonna do a little bit underneath. Now with the underneath ones, same thing, they curve towards the outside like this. And as we get towards the middle, they end up straighter, and then they just kind of disappear. You don't wanna overdo the lower lashes. That looks kind of crazy. So just sort of soft on the outside like that, okay? There we go. That's the basics of the eye. Let's go up here and do the eyebrow too while we're at it. So where I have the nose figured out, right about here. So the eyebrow starts right where the inside corner of your eye is. So it should start about here, going straight up. Okay. The arch, the highest part, will be right in line with the outside part of the eye. So this eyebrow will go to about here, and then it will kind of come down. Okay, really look at her eyebrows. It's really more length going up and then just a tiny bit hanging down, okay? So how do I do eyebrows? Let's see, I'm going to, with the side of my pencil, lightly scribble in the overall shape. I'm really just putting down graphite. I'm going to take my blending stick, and in small circular motions, I'm going to fill that in. Make sure I have the overall shape correct. And then I'm going to put a little texture on top of that. How I'm going to do that is with my 2B, just a few little hairs right on top, maybe a few that stick out if you look, usually here. Pay attention to the direction of the hair. Now women usually keep their eyebrows pretty under control, so we don't want too many little stragglers, but we do want a little something to make it feel like it really is hair. So just a few lines on top, filling up on top of the value, and we're good. Then I'm going to take my dirty blending stick and finish up some of the shadow connecting, actually, clean up some of that sketching from underneath. That looks bad. We don't need any of these lines anymore. But using just a dirty blending stick, I'm going to really pay attention to where the shadows are, where the differences in value are. Something like that. Maybe darken up under here. A little bit more here. And that's the basics of drawing the eye, okay? I want you guys to go ahead and do this and then do the left eye as well.